You can't do anything without your physical vessel. Feel like I'm getting the body of my dreams, low-key, wellness, health, etc. This is the show for ambitious, material girls who are learning how to channel their chaotic energy into a more intentional and fun life. Don't be stupid. Listen to Too Smart for This. Hello, angels, and welcome back to Too Smart for This. It's me, Alexis Barber, and we are continuing in part 2 of the alignment edit today. And today we're talking about your physical vessel, your body, okay? Wellness, health, etc., etc. But before we get into that, hello, hi, welcome back to the show. I am so happy. Oh, I love talking to you all. Also, it's winter and it's so cold out, but every day that the sun is shining, I'm so grateful because when it's not shining, sister, oh, you don't want to know me on those days. And when it rains, can it not rain in winter? Can we at least just have snow, I guess? Because the rain is actually very frustrating because you can't do anything. It's my least favorite thing. I've been trying to walk on my treadmill and stuff in the morning, and I'm shifting my morning routine because if you know me, you know steps are so important to me. And my 20K a day is what I was doing over the summer, which is when I was really locked in on my healing journey. I was doing so many walks, literally changing my life the whole time. And I'm happy we get to talk about wellness, particularly winter wellness, because I know you're going to be listening to this in January, which is a time when wellness is a huge conversation that everybody is having. And the truth of the matter is, I am one of the best people to have this conversation with because I'm not one of those girls who grew up and was actually a Division I athlete and has been working out and was playing lacrosse since she was 5 years old. And I'm not somebody who grew up in a household where food or nutrition was prioritized. I grew up on food stamps. I grew up on ramen noodles. I grew up literally having no real semblance of a connection to my body and had to really learn all of this from scratch in my adult life. So that's why I'm so excited to do the alignment edit, the health and wellness part with you, because if you're unfamiliar, go back and listen to the last episode, which gave you the baseline of what the alignment edit is. Essentially, what we've identified is that our true enemy, if you want to have a great, amazing life, is being good enough, when you are not uncomfortable enough to change. So you have to make the conscious decision to find one small shift in your life that you know is going to take you from good to great. And so we're doing that in every area of our life so that we can feel more aligned and take the load off of ourselves so that we can have more room for joy and creativity in other areas of our lives, right? And health and wellness is one of the most talked about things out there because of the simple fact that you can't do anything without your physical vessel, that it's truly the load-bearing part of your ambitions and of your life. And so it impacts so much of what we do every single day. And for me, as I've gotten a little bit older, oh my God, that sounds so annoying to say. I'm not even that old, but as you get older, I'm 27, I can't drink like I used to and still write a book. I was drinking and doing so much at school and all that. And now there's just so many things I need to do to maintain my physical and my mental health that I was living without before, but I was also living out of alignment then. You know what I mean? The point of the matter is you are nothing without your health. You can be having an amazing week at work or be so successful or something like that, and you get the flu and you can't enjoy it. You can be too sick to enjoy things. And I know that because I have MS. I was diagnosed with MS when I was 15 years old. And it was just so scary to be a teenager and to just not understand what was happening. I had never heard of MS. I didn't know what was going on. It was just so confusing to me. And so that's what ultimately led me to go the opposite way and deprioritize my health for a long time. And as I'm an adult now, I can sort of recognize that being able to be in control of your health and making sure that you are honoring your body and what it does for you every day is truly the greatest gift of all. Because as I said before, you can have all the success in the world, but if you don't have your health, you have nothing. Health is wealth. All right, team? And of course, we need to be realistic. And of course, we need to get serious about our limiting beliefs around health and around the accessibility around health, because a lot of the things that I do to maintain my health are expensive things, like acupuncture. Can she speak? Okay, let's take a sip of the tea for today. Today we're drinking, oh, I love doing this in the episodes lately. Today's drink is a cranberry vanilla wonderland tea, which is my favorite tea, and my mom orders it for me in bulk every year, and it's so delicioso, and it just reminds me of the winter time. And I'm drinking it out of my Anthropology butterfly mug, which is a part of their classic collection or whatever, but I always use the butterfly because it's my lucky symbol. Can you tell my mom made me listen listen to Mariah Carey nonstop growing up. My favorite song of all time is Fantasy. Hello. So if we're going to get started on this alignment edit, the first thing we have to do is kill the idea that your wellness is something that you need to do to be a functioning human being. This is actually something that you want to do from a place of devotion and love for yourself, as opposed to the aesthetics and stuff of the outside world. Now, if that's really what does keep you going, it's good to just note that's your motivation, because there are some things that are certainly things that I want to invest in for vanity purposes only, not for health or self-love or devotion or whatever. But the core wellness part of things is where I want us to be focusing now. When you are approaching your body and taking care of your body from a place of wanting to give it more life, you are going to show up a lot more consistently than when you're going because you want to have abs for your friend's bachelorette party. Am I right? We've got to release the idea that wellness is punishment or something you have to do for survival or something that you need to optimize to get approval from people, and instead view it as a practice that is helping you protect your mind, your creativity, and your mood so that you can have a more enjoyable life, okay? And this has been the reframe for me. And this reframe is actually, if you really think about it, a complete identity shift, which is why for wellness things, you have to sometimes bring out the big guns, which is the alter ego effect. As I said before, I've had a complicated relationship with wellness, my body, and my health ever since I was a kid. And once I finally gave myself the permission to take my health into my own hands, the first example of that was when I decided to get off birth control in the beginning of 2023. And the reason I got off birth control was because I had been on the Nexplanon arm implant for a couple years, and it's very unsafe to get pregnant when you're on the medication that I was on for my MS called Ocrevus. And so I could not, they really wanted me to be on birth control, but I was getting all these terrible symptoms from my birth control, including, but not limited to, depression. I was spotting all the time. I was like, this is also my experience, by the way, guys. I personally hate Nexplanon, and I know a lot of people who also hate it, and I don't personally use birth control for myself, and I have had a lot of success with that. That does not mean that that's the same situation for you. You might need it for other reasons, and I'm not judging anyone who uses birth control. I simply know it doesn't work for my body, and that was a choice I had to make independent of my doctors, and I have to make other, choices now, but it was the first time that I was allowing myself to do that, and I felt amazing ripple effects from that, where I started becoming more comfortable in my body. I started feeling connected to it, so I knew something was off if I was feeling certain things. And that was a mind-body connection I had never gotten to experience. But that was not enough for me to get to the health spot that I'm at now, which is one where I feel great in my body, where I feel like I understand my cycle really well, and where feel like I'm getting the body of my dreams, low-key, which is kind of amazing. To get to that place, I had to do an identity shift. And so a way that I like to do this in the areas of my life that are the most stubborn is something called the alter ego effect. And so I read this book. You don't really need to read the whole thing, okay? It's kind of summarized in one sentence, which is identify what you want and then create an alter ego that can either be based on a fictional or a real character in your life, and choose to embody them whenever you need to do whatever you need to do that other thing. They use an example in the book of someone, this old man who was a CEO, and he hated doing the finance stuff. So he had to embody some Shark Tank character or something like that to get himself to go to the financial meetings. That's a great example of this. And I did that with my health and wellness stuff because I had always been intimidated by things like group workout classes. So something I did over the summer that really kicked off my alignment with my health was I wanted to be one of those girls who goes to the gym on autopilot every single day and who has a workout that's basically her personality. So I did the 14-day solid core challenge, and I did 10 classes in 14 days. And I just became one of those girls who goes every day. And I was able to show my body and my nervous system, what it feels like to be someone who's super consistent with their working out, and to prove to myself that I could do that consistently despite scheduling and all that stuff. And I also proved to myself that, you know what, I enjoy being this person and it makes me feel better. And I have shown myself that I can do progress, that I can do things consistently, that I can do things when I don't want to do them. So I embodied the identity of basically being one of those annoying solid core girls for 14 days. And I showed myself that I can apply that to my own health and wellness journey. And so I did that in addition with another mind hack that I gave myself, which was becoming someone who just goes to the gym. because I haven't felt called to any sort of type of strength training or workout. And when I wasn't feeling like obsessed with anything, I was like, I just need to go. And like, even if I'm just playing around with these dumbbells for a little bit, I am still making some sort of progress. And when I feel called to be committed to some sort of program, then that's when I will do that. But right now, it's just not my thing. I need to just make sure that I'm going and moving my body. And so that was me giving myself permission to have a bare minimum and to reach the bare minimum for a little bit. And that is something you have to do when you're an ambitious material girl, because you probably have a ton of different things that you want to be great at and you want to excel at. But right now, I'm not bodybuilding. Okay. I'd like to be more toned, but it's the winter time. As long as I'm getting my movement in, it's really so that I just don't go crazy. Right. So I want us to be careful in the alignment edit, not to focus so much on wellness being for your glow up, but more so being this identity creation where you can use it to best serve your creative interests, to best serve your physical interests and your mental health as well, because that's really the foundation of everything we do in this life is our health. So wellness is also one of those areas where we can find our one tiny edit that we're going to have to make in a plenty of different areas, okay? It can be in one thing, like for me, which was getting my birth control removed, because that triggered an entire feeling of having autonomy over my body and over my health that I was able to apply to whether it was going to the gym or what I was eating or my supplements, whatever. And so that for you could look like hormone regulation, or it could look like becoming someone who does cardio when you've only ever done strength, or it could be going from being a gym lifting girly to, even though you've prioritized strength training for a while, you kind of want the community and the routine that comes with going to workout classes. And look at what the ripple effect of that can do. So something for me that could be an edit is I'm currently just going to the gym. I'm not making tons of progress in my physique right now, but it wasn't really a priority, right? But I've also noticed in my life that I do really well when I have a community, and I do really well in making sure that I get to interact with people. And when you work for yourself and you're alone all day, every day, that can be something that you really need. So I made the commitment to finding a workout class that I really enjoy and making that a part of my routine and investing in that, because I know it'll have a ripple effect of bringing me more joy, more dopamine, and showing that devotion to my body. It can also be switching the type of workout that you're doing. So you can be going from someone who's doing these high intensity workouts to doing more yoga, or deciding to go into yoga teacher training, for example. And that kind of edit will shift your entire mental place, because you're going to be slowing down. And maybe you needed the energy that was coming from these high intensity workout classes in the past, but now you actually need to slow down and be more present with yourself because you have a ton going on at work. These are just little things to think about when it comes to your movement. And the core thing to remember here is that movement is what controls your mood. And no matter what, whatever you are doing, anything that is stagnant starts to settle. And remember that when you're in a bad mood and it's like, actually, have I gotten my 10K steps today? Actually, what can I do? And what type of movement might feel best for me to get back into the mood that I want to be in? The next thing I want to talk about is nourishment, because that's what I have to call it now, because this is my biggest area that needs editing. All right. Needs some major editing, because my days would look like I would eat nothing until 4:00 p.m. And then I would have an entire box of Ritz crackers, a protein yogurt, and order sushi for dinner. What are you talking about? This is not healthy. And I started to notice things in my body, my eating habits. It was just like, oh, whatever. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to focus on it. And I know you guys are doing this too. I know you guys are waking up and just drinking your coffee and just drinking your matcha, and then having another one at maybe 1 or 2 p.m. And then you've been snacking maybe on some nuts in the morning, and then you're ravenous by the time it's time to eat, but you don't really want to order anything because nothing really sounds good. So you end up having some noodles and maybe some eggs sometimes, or maybe it's just an entire bag of popcorn and a glass of red wine, and that is becoming your sustenance. And let me tell you something, that is not nourishment. You cannot do that forever. And when you eat well, you feel a lot better. So what you need to do is normalize that habit in your life in some way, shape, or form, and you have got to invest in this. I truly believe any investment, any financial investment that you make in any health or wellness thing will come back to you tenfold, and I want you to remember that. What we don't even notice is some of these old habits are not even rooted in things that are true anymore. It's like you're trying to get the cheapest possible groceries, which means that they probably aren't organic, or they probably are not necessarily the most nutritious thing, because you are still operating on the budget that you had while you were in college. If you don't have that budget anymore and you're noticing that some things aren't aren't sitting right with you, or you're not obsessed with how you're feeling every day, then you can change your food consumption habits so that they can better support your health. That habit that I just described to you of not eating all day and then eating something crazy and wasting money and not really thinking about my health and wellness, that's all rooted in when I was in school and working 24/7 and I couldn't actually think about food. I have the time to think about my food and to cook it now. So I'm operating in an old system, and that's one edit that you can immediately make where it's like, oh, I have time to bake cooking into my daily schedule and make it a joyful thing and a ritual that I enjoy. And if I don't want to make it a ritual, there are other ways that I know that I can nourish myself that's better than what I was doing in the past. You can let go of those past identities. It doesn't have to be rooted in how you were eating and just the meals that you were cooking when you were growing up. How many of you guys have never even tried to make a new recipe because you just eat what you were eating growing up? What if that's just not what's best for you? You can rethink this. And so a way I'm also doing this is I'm using, I think it's called Faye. I'm scheduling, as soon as I get all my new insurance stuff figured out, which we're about to talk about, a meeting with a nutritionist, because nutritionists can be so supportive in helping expand your horizons on what's possible for you, and also helping you notice the gaps that you might not even notice that might be the biggest edits that make the biggest shifts. And I think there's a couple reframes that you can make around food that really helps me, which is something like protein. Instead of thinking of it as I'm obsessed and I need to get these macros right, or I'm not going to have the muscles I want, I think of it as energy insurance, where I know now I'm not going to crash because I've been eating my protein, and you can feel more confident in what you're feeding your body, right? And that feels really good. And you're allowed to feel really good. And now we got to get real for a second. And I'm again going to admit, I'm doing this edit with you guys. I was not perfect with all of this stuff, but I think right now in this little early beginning of the year period is a great time to use all that momentum to act on these edits. And this big one is your health management. And I don't mean by like the gym you go to or, whatever. It's the actual health management of managing your insurance, making sure you're going to all your doctor's offices, and making sure you're making the most of all of your health opportunities. So insurance can be so hard, but I really want to challenge you to sit down and make a plan for when you're going to get the most important things that you need to get done every year. So that is making sure you're going to the gynecologist, making sure you're being tested for everything that you need to be tested for, getting your blood work, making sure that you're doing your mammograms. I want you to make sure you're going to the dentist twice a year, that you're going to the eye doctor once a year. If you are having issues with your back or with your health, seeing if you can get referred out for acupuncture and for massages and having your insurance pay for them. I want us to sit down and schedule all of these because it is time consuming to do and it is annoying to do. But we are at that age, brothers and sisters, we are at that age where anything can happen. I have close friends in my life who are going through major health scares. I've obviously got a disease myself that if I didn't discover it that early and I just sort of let the random pains go when I was younger, we wouldn't have been able to treat my MS as easily, and I wouldn't be able to be a healthy, functioning adult because things would have progressed a lot faster. I really want you to think about this as a place of self-trust, because you're doing everything you can to take care of your health, and that is all you can do. So please make sure to schedule all of these appointments. I know it's annoying, I know it's time consuming, but it's crucial in being a grown woman. So let's get to it. And finally, I want us to think about supplements. You guys know I freaking love supplements so much, and they have really changed my life in many, many ways. Another thing that I absolutely love and care so much about is my Eastern medicine practices. So my massages and my acupuncture. I go to Within for acupuncture, and I have an acupressure mat that I lay on every single day, and I do my meditations and my red light therapy mask on. And when I know I'm feeling really frustrated with something and I'm feeling a lot of anger or something in my body, I lay on it as well. And it just is so great because it helps to release so much of our emotions are stored in our bodies. And if you are an ambitious material girl or a high achiever, you're probably really smart. So you're really good at going through the logic of your emotions and processing them that way instead of processing them through the body. So you might be like, oh, I'm immediately over this because I logically understand it. But that doesn't mean that the emotion has fully left your body yet. So that's why things like acupuncture and my acupressure mat are so crucial for me. And supplements on top of that are really helpful. So I got recommended these supplements that are great for brain fog from my acupuncturist. They're called Alexis Smart Brain Drops, and they've been so helpful for me so far, but check with your practitioners before you do anything, I suggest. I also started taking the Array Tribiotic, which is a pre, pro, and post, I don't freaking know, biotic or whatever. This is something I noticed that my gut health was something I wanted to take care of this year. here. And I'm also taking some stress support stuff because I used to be like, what's the point of this? But I realized that I carry a lot more stress than I realize I carry. So the long-term effects of having those supplements in your body are really helpful. I use the one from Parallel called Stress Support. And then I also take a daily multivitamin. I take vitamin D, and I'm also prescribed some stuff for my hair. So I'm wanting to grow my edges. I take all that too. But basically, supplements are really helpful because for me, I'll notice something in my cycle isn't working really well. Like used to get really bloated and have a lot of pain during my ovulation period. And I learned that if you take these DIMS capsules, they just have the vitamins that you need to help flush excess estrogen during that time. If I take those, then my bloating is significantly reduced and my PMS symptoms are significantly reduced. So sometimes it's something as simple as taking one supplement that changes how I feel for an entire week out of my month. That is a major thing. So that's why doing these little edits is so helpful. So make sure that you're going through your health routine, noticing the things that could be better, that are nagging you, but also not pressuring yourself to become an Olympic level athlete and wellness queen. That is not what I want you to do here. I just want you to notice places where nourishment might help you find more joy and find more alignment and productivity in your life. I hope that this was helpful, and I'm linking all my supplements, all my favorite things that I use for my wellness down below so that you guys can take a look at them. I'm going to ask within if I can get you all a discount code to go try out acupuncture there because it's so amazing, and I think they have 3 or 4 locations here in New York, and I know like 30% of you guys are in New York. All that being said, I love you all so much, and I know wellness can be really hard, so make sure you're doing things like the alter ego effect and helping to change your identity so that you can get to the places you want to go. And with that, thank you all for listening to today's episode of Too Smart for This. As always, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 2Collective, and make sure to subscribe to the Substack so you also get our weekly newsletter and join the community over there because it's so much fun. I will be back with another episode of the Alignment Edit, and we are going to be talking about money. So you don't want to miss that because this one was really hard for me to get together, okay? I love you guys so much. Make sure to follow me at Alexis Barber on Instagram and TikTok if you want any more of my days, my updates, my everything, my outfits, because killing it. Love you guys so much and see you in the next episode. And don't forget, you're too smart to not love yourself. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Too Smart for This. Make sure you're subscribed to our Substack and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 2Collective. Don't be stupid. Listen to Too Smart for This.